Good evening and welcome to all of you. Okay, so today we'll start. In Google Map, there is always the pinpoint showing your current location. I don't know if it will be there on this or not. Okay. I had this is the wireframe that I was showing actually. This was the wireframe that I made. This was the backend thing changes, and this was my proposed design. That something like this I want, wherein if this is my current location, so it should cover an area of let's say 500 meters or 1 kilometers or something like this. All right. So there can be a lot of ways of discovering the problem. Okay. Acha, can anyone tell me the solution space? Okay. When I speak of solution, okay, then you need to get in touch with your tech team, marketing team, designer. So, as a product manager, you spend time in discovering the problem space and then delivering a solution. Okay. Should Uber launch a tech product? Definitely. Uber should not launch a tech product. Okay. And this is what we discussed that company's goal is. So, then we had discussed some of these formulas in respect to 6 different types of business model that we have, which is selling a product, renting a product, commission-based sales, subscription-based, usage-based, and advertising-based. Give me a thumbs up if you've gone through this article, this IM case study. How many of you've gone through it? Give me a thumbs up. Even if you've not read it all, but you've been through it, you've gone through it. Jobs to be done. Okay. So mostly we'll start with storytelling. Okay, on jobs to be done. And after the story is completed, then we will talk about how do you build startup ideas, and not just startup ideas, but also new product features. Like if you are planning to add some new features in your product, so how do you do that? We will try to understand all of that. Okay. So are you excited for today's session? Why do we buy products? Why do you even need to buy a product? So we buy product. A lot of time, people think you buy product for what reasons. Okay. So there is a slight different word used smartly here. People hire product. Okay. They don't buy it. Okay. They hire product to get some job done. Okay. And what is that job to be done is to solve a problem. Okay. So you might be thinking कि sir कहाँ चाहे इधर से पकड़ो चाहे उधर से पकड़ो दोनों same चीज है same चीज नहीं है and that is what we will try to be understanding and decoding in this session. Okay. We actually don't buy a product. We hire them. We hire them to get a job done. Okay. For example, what is your mobile phone doing? It is helping you to do a job. Okay. Now let's say I'm sitting in Bangalore and I want to know the health of my parents. I would have to travel all the way to Allahabad and meet my parents if I would have not had a mobile phone. Okay. So that is the kind of job that okay, meeting at parents, going back to my own city, meeting my parents, and then the entire life is there. Okay. So now mobile is doing a kind of job for me. It is helping me to communicate with my family. Okay. So a lot of time what we think is that okay, there is a gap, there is a demand in the market. When we talk about how do you build a business, so the very immediate thought that we get is that there is a demand in the market, and if we are able to fulfill that demand, if we are able to supply those needs, that is how you build a business. Is it true? There is a demand in market. If you are able to fulfill that supply, okay. Struggling moments create demand. Okay, it's who's there upstairs. Okay, you're in. So it's not always the demand that makes that you can fulfill a supply and then meet that. Okay. These words might be confusing you guys, but later part of this video will session will discuss a short story that will make it clear everything. Okay. So just remember that there are struggling moments in life that creates demand. Okay. And what those struggling moments are, now we will jump on to a case study to simplify the things. Okay, so this is the very important question. Abhi, whatever we discussed before, struggling moments, demand and supply, that might be confusing. And I deliberately was confusing you guys, okay, to understand something deeper. Okay, so tell me, why do you buy a toothbrush? You don't buy a brush to brush your teeth. Okay, now you might be thinking, oh, what the hell? What crazy am I talking about? Okay, the real answer is now if you go back to system thinking and think of the solution in a system thinking way manner. So the whole purpose of toothbrush is not to brush your teeth. Okay. The whole purpose why toothbrush and a paste was designed is so that you can keep your teeth healthy. Okay. The whole purpose of toothbrush is to keep your teeth healthy. Had there been some other ways of keeping your teeth healthy, you would have never brushed your teeth. Okay. Let's say there would have been some other ways of keeping your teeth healthy, you would have not brushed your teeth. Okay. So you need to understand the very close and detailed value proposition of the product that is there in the market or that you are going to be building or anything any product that surrounds you around. Okay, so you need to understand that what is the value that product is trying to deliver. Okay. So I would repeat again that you don't buy a toothbrush or a toothpaste to just brush your teeth. Okay. You just buy them to keep your teeth healthy. Had there been some other ways of keeping your tooth healthy and teeth healthy, you would have not brought the brush. Rather, you would have used those other ways which would have been more convenient for keeping your teeth healthy. So that is why I said you hire a product to get some job done. Okay, that is what we are going to be studying. That what is actually jobs to be done. Okay, so now we'll jump onto the story. And this is a very famous story. Okay. So I will not get into much details of the story. Okay. अब क्योंकि ये स्टोरी है तो मैं थोड़ा सा स्टोरी टेलिंग फॉर्म में आई टेल इट ओके it will have some fun and I'll try to make it interesting. But in case if you want a detailed insight on the video, on the sorry video I'm saying on the content, so you can read this article. Okay, I have shared a detailed dates and things, who launched it, when did it get published first, and all of that. So you can refer that. Okay, we'll understand some oversimplified version of the story. Okay, so long back, okay, MacD, we all know of McDonald's. Okay, McDonald's was planning to launch a milkshake in the market. Okay, so MacD collected its people. They did a lot of research. Everybody was like ready for the research. Okay, what are the ingredients that should be added in the milk? How thick the milk should be? What are the flavors that needs to be added in the milk? So the overall objective that MacD had is they wanted to make the world's best milkshake. Okay, and they did a lot of research for that. Okay, a lot of research. Everything that they could do is they did it. Okay, and after the entire research and everything that they did, they finally launched a milkshake. And the story dates back to US, not for Indian market specifically. Okay, so they finally managed to launch a milkshake. So what did happen after that? After Maggie launched the milkshake, milkshake did not do well. Okay. After so much of effort, when MACD launched, they were believing that, okay, this is one of the best milkshakes that we have done, we have made. They launched it and they saw that the demand of the milkshake was not there. People were not buying milkshake. Okay. So MACD got frustrated and irritated. Okay, we thought that we have made the world's best milkshake, but why aren't people buying it? Okay. Uh, so what MACD did is this slide is actually placed in a wrong way. When when MACD got frustrated. Okay, people are not buying it. So what do you do? If your customers are not loving your product, what do you do? MACD invited all its users or the people who were buying its milkshake. They did thousands of interviews. Okay, they called every customer, sir, this is the milkshake for you. We had done a lot of research on this milkshake, and finally the milkshake is here. So rate us, like what are the other ingredients that you expect to be there in the milkshake so that people love the milkshake. Okay, and when they interacted with thousand people gave thousands of ways of making the milkshake best. Okay. Now, out of those thousand things, MACD prioritized that what are the common things that everybody is talking about, and let's incorporate all of that and let's see what would happen. Okay. And after incorporating everything that their users have told, milk the MACD relaunched its milkshake in the market. Okay. And when they relaunched the milkshake, what happened? Did it do well this time? So after the hell lot of research that they did, the milkshake still didn't do well. Okay. So now this time MACD got frustrated and they thought that instead of solving this problem ourselves, let's hire someone to solve it on our behalf. Okay. So they knocked the doors of Harvard. Okay. Harvard, and they reached out to a professor whose name I don't remember. And the name of the professor might be somewhere here. The name of the professor, jobs to be done. Wondering what jobs to be done. Let us, the story increased by for quality 90s. MACD launched. Can you find the name of the professor? Okay, okay. Yeah, Professor Sir Clay, whatever. Okay, so they hired him and his team to do a research and understand that despite making the world's best milkshake, why are people not buying it? Okay, so the team of professors, they what he did is he made his team stand on every outlets of MACD and just observe every customer that is coming to the MACD store and buying milkshake. It's not that people were not buying milkshake. It was just that sales were not doing good enough. Okay. So the marketing professor, he asked the team to observe every customer. What is the color of clothes they are wearing? At what time are they coming? How long? What is the amount of time that they are spending inside the store? And every detail that you see, just make a record of those details. Uh, and we'll track that later. So when they made a record of all the customers that they were observing, they found something really insightful. Okay. And what was that insight is that, can anyone guess what was the insight? Any guess? I don't expect the answer because it might be a new case study. But the insight was
So question repeat कर दीजिए.
okay. So what these guys from Harvard University did was they started observing every customer that was coming to the store to buy a milkshake. They were taking every details of the customer, like what is the vehicle that they are coming through, what is the time that they are coming at, what is the amount of time that he's spending inside the store. Okay, so they started observing everything of the user. Okay, these were the details that they were observing about the user. At what time the customer visit, what is the type of clothes he's wearing, were they buying milkshake just for, like, were they buying it for themselves or somebody was along with them? Were they coming alone with someone along? Not just these, but every detail that they could observe, they were observing everything. And the fun part was what they observed is based on the data that they had gathered, they observed that most of their customers were coming before 8:30. Okay. And if you can see, not lingering, not adding any other item to their order. They were buying just milkshake. Okay. So the professor Clay reached out to these people and asked them that what made you hire this milkshake? How it was useful for the users was that they could complete their driving, okay, and it used to keep them healthy, and by the time they reached their office they were not hungry at that time. Okay, so do you understand now that what is the job that this milkshake was serving? Okay, so MacD was busy in making the best milkshake, but MacD didn't spend time in understanding why are people buying their milkshake, and that was one of the important thing to understand. Okay, once they have understood, okay, why my consumers are buying, why my users are buying my product. Once they have understood that, now they changed the approach of increasing the sales. Now what they did is, because people were buying milkshake so that it could keep them healthy and it lasted long, okay, so that they could drive. So now what they did is they made the milkshake even thicker. They reduced the straw size, okay, and they introduced the milkshake on drive through. They reduced the size of the straw and they introduced it in a drive through. And now what they found was, this is what drive through looks like. Because people were buying this milkshake while going to office, so they realized that maybe we should deliver them the milkshake faster. It should be more healthier and it should be long lasting. And now they saw increase in sales. Now they saw increase in sales. Okay, I've shared the link to the article here, so you all can go and read the article. Okay, now they saw increase in sales. Was it an interesting thing? Before we actually jump onto the answer, okay. So you need to understand what is the job that your product is solving. Okay, and this is what the Tata Nano did. Can anyone tell me why did Tata Nano fail in India? So now we will get onto this framework, okay? But before we get onto this framework, we will understand two concepts, okay? Two concepts, very important concept. And those are the frameworks that we need to understand, okay? So one of these frameworks is Kano model. This is an important framework, which is called Kano model, okay? So when you are building your product, okay, there could be infinite number of features that you can add. So now this is a very important article, okay, because this will help you to get started in building your own product, your own startup, or this will also help you to launch new features in your existing product. So we will understand Kano model, and then we will try to link it with the jobs to be done framework. We have just studied the story around jobs to be done framework, but we have not studied the framework itself yet. Okay, so let's get started. So this is what the graph looks like. Okay, this is y-axis and this is x-axis. Okay, now this x-axis here, this is need not met. Okay, now what this need not met is the features I'm talking about. This is the features when you meet the needs of delivering the right feature. Okay, so and this is y-axis wherein this shows the more you go up, there is user satisfaction level, and the below you go, user gets dissatisfied. Okay, so when you start building a product, the very first goal of yours should be to build features, to build features that is must have, to build features that are must have. Okay, to build all the must have feature. So this should be your first priority when you are building your product from scratch. Okay, let's take an example of Amazon and Flipkart. So who came first in the market? Of course, Amazon, but later Flipkart also came. Okay, so every product and everything has a standardized thing. Okay, So what are the must-have features on Amazon? Okay, must-have features are add to cart, okay, buy now, listing of product, okay, then
Reviews.
payment gateway. Yeah, reviews, anyways, you can still skip, but let's write it. There could be n number of features, not n, I would say, let's say 10 features are there that must have. Okay, now we think that we should not copy from others. But what Flipkart did they copy? Yes, they copied. So is it wrong to copy? No. Okay. There are some must have features that should be there inside your product, irrespective that your competition is also having it. Okay. So now what is the advantage or difference of having a must have feature? If your product has a must have feature, see, needs fully met. Okay. If your product has must have feature, okay, so it won't satisfy the user. See, satisfaction line is here. If your product has must have feature, it won't increase the user satisfaction. But if those necessary features are not there in your product, user will get dissatisfied immediately. Okay, can you give me an example? Think of must have feature in any product. Okay, I'll give you an example. Seat belt in a car. Okay, do you get excited when you see a seat belt in a car? Okay, but let's say you go to buy a car and you don't find a seat belt. Will you get frustrated? Yes. Okay. So when you are building your product, okay, figure out that what are the must have features in the industry. Okay, what are the must have features in the industry, and prioritize building that. Okay, the very first immediate goal is, when you are making a list of features in your product, the first thing or the first goal should be to make a list of entire features that are part of must have journey. So here I have shown a seatbelt example. Okay, once you are done with must have feature, okay, then you go on to the performance. Okay, and now what is this performance? Okay, this performance is something that the more is the performance, the more you will see rise in user satisfaction. Okay, and the lesser is the performance, the more you will see user is dissatisfied. Let's say there is a car A and then there is a car B. Okay. Both have same price. Both have airbags, six airbag. Top speed of both the cars is 240 kilometers, 240 kilometers. But mileage of car A is 20 kilometers and mileage of car B is 30 kilometers. Which car would you buy? Correct. Okay. So when you are building your product, your first priority should be to add all the must have features. And your second priority should be to make those features in a way that it is better performing than anyone else out there in the market. Now comes the final part, which makes your product successful. Which makes your product successful. And that is the third type of feature, which is delighter. Which is delighter. If there is no delighter in your product, the user will not be dissatisfied. Can you see it's not going below this? Okay. So if there is no delighter in your product, user will not get dissatisfied. But if there is a delighter, you will see high rise in user satisfaction. If there is that feature, you will see high rise in user satisfaction level. Okay. So can anyone give me an example of delighter in their day-to-day life?
Panoramic sunroof in cars.
Yes, at the same budget. Okay. The delighter, by the way, the delighter that I have written is an older version of uh, delighter. And that is when the very first time in 1992, GPS feature was launched in the car. Okay. So had there been no GPS in the car, people would still buy a car. Okay. But since there is a GPS in the car, people will get excited about it. Okay. So is it a good example of delighter? Definitely yes. So when you are building your product, you need to take care of three things. First is add all the must-have features in your product. Once you've added all the must-have features, second task is to increase the performance of the features that are there in your product. And once you're done with the performance-based features, then it's time to launch delighters. Delighters are the feature that people don't expect you to be making, but if you do, people would love to get engaged with those features. So something very interesting was found, okay, and it happened with Swiggy that in tier 2 city there was sudden increase in dinner order delivered to office during evening via food delivering order app. Guess what was the reason? So if I decode the entire thing once again, so what Swiggy found was that in tier 2 cities, there was high demand of food ordering in the evening in office. Why was it happening? If I explain this again in Hindi, तो स्विगी गॉट एन इनसाइट कि शाम को ऑफिस से निकलते टाइम लोग बहुत ज्यादा खाना ऑर्डर कर रहे थे स्विगी से. There is an underserved need in every product. I'll tell you, upgrad and great learning courses are far expensive. Okay. If you do an MBA from upgrad, it would cost you 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs. Okay. Whereas the same thing you can learn at on Udemy at maybe 499 rupees. Okay. So now, is upgrad wrong? No. Their value proposition is something else. Udemy's value proposition is something else. But with every company that you will see in the market, they have some underserved need. Now, what happens is when there is an underserved need with the product, then that leads to a push force that will push you from leaving the platform. Okay. This underserved need pushes you to not use these platforms. Okay. So once this push force is created, people get into this discoverability phase. Okay. Wherein they start discovering for an alternative. Okay. So the second trick is now when you know that you've made a list of products and you've made the list of underserved needs on those products, okay? And you know that that underserved need is leading to a push force and people are looking for a better solution. They are into a discoverability phase. What do? You take that opportunity and bang on. How do you bang on? You create your own brand with features that is not there here. Okay. And then you create a pull force and you make them use your platform. Okay. But that's not so easy. Okay. That's not so easy. If you just complete the underserved needs, it's not always that the users will come and use your platform. Okay. Still, there might be some hindrance and problems. And that hindrance and problem can be anxiety. Let's say if you have added hundreds of features in that product, if you have added hundreds of features on that product, okay, that will lead to anxiety. Okay. So you and that anxiety will lead to a push force from your platform. Okay. So you need to ensure that you have added only the relevant features that your user want. Okay. And there is also again a push force for your product, habit of present. If I am used to ordering things from Amazon, no matter how great product you build, I will again and again go on Amazon to order my product. Okay. So sometimes people get used to certain type of UI and UX. So how do you avoid habit of present? You try to make the product more like the product that already exists in the market. Okay. This is one of the very important frameworks jobs to be done using which you can plan for launching your own product. So now when you are building this, okay, so what do you think, which is the most important force here? It is F2. The pull force that you're creating for your brand, it should be so strong that it should cancel out everything. Okay, it should cancel out and your user cannot stop himself by from using your product. Okay, So here we have talked about Kano model. Okay. Now we have talked about Kano model. So now how is Kano model useful here? You have list of 1,000 features. Okay. So which features would you add first? First, you will prioritize the must-have features. Then you will look for performance-based features, and then you will jump on to the delighters in your product. That is what will help you to strengthen your F2 force. And this is a good example. QuickBook has half the features and double the price of its competition. Okay. And still, QuickBook has more sales than competitors. Okay. You think that, okay, it is always about having more number of features, but QuickBook has half the features of its competition and double the price what their competition is charging. Still, the sales of QuickBook is far better than its competition. Okay. That is why there's a very famous saying which says that you are better off with kick-ass half is better than half-ass old product. So decoy effect we have studied, anchoring. Okay. Now, what is this anchoring effect? It's a very famous effect. Okay. It's a marketing trick done by mall owners. Okay. So this time, when I have seen a Gucci Armani shirt of 15,000, and now this time when the other shirts I see in black, which is identical to this Gucci Armani shirt, and this time it's of 12,000, 1,200 rupees or maybe 1,500 rupees, what will happen is I will end up buying these t-shirts or shirts because I liked some other shirt. I couldn't afford it, but I will end up buying this shirt. And this is known as anchoring effect. So that's it for today, I guess. Okay.